off tonight with the.
Man,
it's good to see you. You're getting all fired up for another trip back to Disney, so that's kind of exciting. And the holidays are
leaving
coming up.
Saturday night. Yeah,
Wow,
maybe. Yeah.
it's that time of the year where all the and I you can't see it right now, but I did some decorating here. You know, I hung some boughs and such around our set, and you know I had
Bows.
boughs.
Oh,
You know,
bows.
boughs. You
I'm
know,
sorry. I
we've
was
got some
thinking
beautiful
something different.
pine here.
Bows.
I've got a little mistletoe over there, which you know we'll just leave that at that. You know, so we're pretty decked out here. This is pretty big stuff here.
Awesome.
And we're going to be doing, with the 12 days of our Christmas event, we're going to be giving, every night we're going to be doing some different prizes. And as we progress through the shows for the first 3 weeks of December, we're going to be going to bigger prizes and such, and going from there. If you're joining us for the first time and you have not signed up, you can still do that because I'm going to pull the list in about 20 minutes or so for tonight's first drawing. And you can go out to discjockeynews.com/holidays. And that link will then allow you to fill that in and register for our tonight's drawing. So yeah, that was Jimmy did the logo, and he did a great job with our logo and such. Yeah, we might be lagging for some reason. YouTube was just before the show started, just kind of crapped out for us. It's like, oh no, it's dead. Okay.
Does that mean our lips are moving at a different space than our words are coming out?
Could be. I'm seeing it all coming through, and we're right on.
Does that mean?
But that could be one of these things that'd be like we talked yesterday, and they're hearing it today, kind of a thing. Yeah, we always like those kind of things.
Saying it, we said it yesterday, and they're hearing it today. Yes, I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So tonight in our first show, what we're going to be talking about, the title of it was 3 Tales of Sales. And Ron had an interesting ordeal recently. And one of the things we talk about on our shows is the idea that you can learn from a variety of different places. You can learn from the DJ industry, and you can learn a lot of things from observing outside the DJ industry. And Ron, I think this is definitely one of those situations.
Yeah, it started a couple months ago. My wife and I decided that even though we had our house recited several years ago and had almost every window in the house replaced, I'm guessing it was because of budget. We didn't get the front door or the back door replaced, or the windows on either side of those doors. So there'd be like 2 picture windows is what they call them, but they're just very long. Maybe 2 feet across and about 4 foot high windows on each side of the doors, both in front and in back of our house. So this year, I have this thing, affinity to painting, that I don't ever want to have to paint anything. That's one reason why we had the house sided. And the back door is, of course, wood. It gets a lot of sunshine. And this coming year, it would need painting. So I told my wife, I said, rather than me pulling out a paintbrush, why don't we just get those things replaced? Mm-hmm. So we did what most people do. We sat down and I contacted 3 of perhaps the most recognizable sellers of doors and windows in the area, most recognizable names, and we invited them to come out for bids. And each one of those experiences was entirely different. And there were lessons in each one of those that I think anybody who's into sales, whether you're a DJ or a florist or a wedding, it doesn't matter. You could learn just from observing what happened in each one of those situations. Do you want me to go ahead and start telling you the stories?
We'll get there in just a second. Now, Ron and I talked a little bit about this late last week as we were kind of going through and prepping for tonight's show. Sure. And it's really kind of interesting to listen to Ron tell the stories because there's so many things that as he was sharing, it's like, oh my gosh, this is, I've heard Peter Mary talk about some of the instances that you were referring to. Yeah. And hearing the different sales, you know, when Randy was talking about sales, you hear these things that are going to be talked about in tonight's show. And these are all, again, sales is sales to a point. It's just changing a little bit, but the ideas and the concepts, it's like, wow. Other people do it just as bad.
Emotion. It's appealing to trust. It's especially if you're spending a ton of money, which one of the other things I discovered is that getting doors and just 2 doors and 4 windows replaced is not cheap. Yeah. I mean, it was a lot more money than I anticipated. And my wife was going, paint would be so much cheaper. But yeah, I mean, it just watching what happened and really paying attention. I wonder if because I deal in sales myself with couples I work with, maybe I was just being more observant than most people normally would have been. But it was quite an experience.
So let's get into our first contestant with our
All
Tales of
right.
Three Sales.
So our first contestant was a company that is known locally for siding and mainly for siding. And they have a very recognizable spokesperson in the city. They're constantly running ads on TV. So I contacted them first and set up an appointment. Actually, I don't know if they were number one or two, but this was the first company I met with.
Okay.
So they sent a young man came to our house who was probably 23, 20, maybe 24 years old, a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I should also, a couple things that all of the companies I met with had in common was, and I think this is really important, and it relates to what we do, is they wanted to make certain that both Debbie, my wife, that both Debbie and I would be here for that appointment. And I think that was crucial to them, critical to them, that we both be here, because they didn't want to go through the process like we would have to go through the process of meeting with the bride. Now we have to turn around, we got to meet with the groom again. So they wanted to make certain that we would both be here. But anyway, the young man showed up, very nice, very hospitable. He came and he asked, he took pictures of the front of the house. He took pictures of the back of the house. And then he sat down at the table with Debbie and I. And he said, so what do you want? And well, of course, we want doors and we want windows. Yeah, well, what kind do you want? I don't know. What kind do we want? Well, some people do this, some people do that. And it was like, we just started like with a door as an example. And I didn't know this until this first meeting, was that there's even different material for a door jamb that I had no idea that ever existed. So we got into, okay, so you can get a steel front door, or you can get a plexiglass front door. There's other materials as well that's kind of like half and half, but they all have different RF measurements for insulation and that kind of stuff. And then you have the material of the door. And there were three things that I told him. I said that I wanted security. I wanted energy efficient. I never wanted to have to paint again. I don't want to have to maintain these doors.
Sure.
So as we're getting into this conversation and he's asking us what, both my wife and I are like, at one point I asked the guy, I said, so what would you suggest? This is a northern exposure door. What would you suggest? What would you do if this were your home?
23-year-old, first off. Yeah.
23-year-old. I mean, he just stood there. Yeah. Well, and then I said, come on, it's okay. I'm not gonna hold you to anything. Mm-hmm. And it was like pulling teeth, trying to get him up. But even then, he couldn't come up with just one clear example of something that we might want to do. It was this, well, some people do this and some people do that. It's like, and then the other thing, going to the windows for a moment, he started talking about how on the inside of the windows, they would replace the wood on the inside. And on the outside, of course, it would be vinyl. It would be wrapped and all that.
Yeah.
And so we said, and so you'll come and you'll do the staining. Oh, no, we don't stain windows. And I said, but I just told you, I I don't want to have to do anything with this project. Well, we don't do that. Well, why don't you do that? Well, we don't. Okay. I said, do you have anybody you suggest? No. Okay. So after about 45 minutes talking to this young man, it was obvious that Debbie and I were, like I said, our heads were about to explode because we had no idea what this kid was talking about. And I felt sorry for him in a way, because he didn't come with any samples. He was empty-handed. He had this iPad. As I said, he took a picture of the front of the house, and kind of a cool feature was being able to show us what a door would look like, replacing the door that we had. That was kind of cool. But beyond that, he didn't have anything to show us. So after about 45 minutes, he had also talked about, I knew that they had a showroom down the street, and he kept talking about the showroom. And I said, you know what? I said, I feel really bad, but I'm going to cut this meeting short, because to be honest with you, I think Debbie and I are at fault here. We didn't do our homework.
Sure.
So why don't we do this? I said, why don't we reschedule? We'll go to your showroom. We'll meet with you again. This way we can see all this stuff and you can tell us all about it and all that. And again, this is our first meeting, so I don't know what the guy's supposed to be bringing with him or anything.
Right. Yeah.
So a couple of days pass, and we go to the showroom. Almost same exact situation as if the guy were in our house. He showed us a bunch of stuff, but he really couldn't explain to us why this door was better than that door, or what made this door more energy efficient than that door,
Right.
or these windows. And then so we sat down and we said, okay. So I told Deb, I go, let's just get some pricing and get out of here. So we sit down with him, and every price he writes down, he writes it by hand on a piece of in a spiral notebook. He'd write down a price, and he'd rip the page out, and he'd lay it down in front of us, and he'd say, well, this is what it's going to cost for the door. Oh, wait, here, change that because I forgot to take off the discount. Okay, so it's going to be this price. Oh, wait, change that because I forgot to add this. So when we left there that evening, we had like 3 or 4 pieces of spiral notebook paper. This is spiral notebook. So we left with like 3 or 4 pieces of spiral notebook paper, just numbers everywhere. I have no idea of what any of this was going to cost us. Let me tell you, I mean, I felt sorry for this kid. I really did, because this was not his fault. I put this on the people that were responsible for training this young man, because he had no earthly clue what he was doing. And as I was thinking about it, I'm thinking, how many times I remember the first time I went into a sales consultation with no idea of how to present my services, or I can remember at one point somebody asking me why my services cost as much as they did, and I said, well, it's because I have insurance. That was my answer. And I mean, it made no sense at all. But hey, that's the only thing I had, because I hadn't really been trained in sales. And to be honest with you, I'd love to go back. I guess I'm giving a spoiler alert here that no, we did not book this guy. I don't even know what the total price was, to be honest. If we had taken all the, Debbie and I sat down one night and we tried to pull all the pricing together so we could figure out exactly, because he never gave us a total. He just said, here's
a bunch of numbers.
Here's a bunch of numbers. And as most all of the sales reps we did, and I won't give you the answer I told the guy, but as most all of them did, at the end of his presentation, he would say, may I call you in a week? So we'll talk more about that here in just a little bit.
Let's take a couple of seconds here to dissect a couple of things now.
Okay.
Because a lot of the things that happened within this, I want to make a few points. First off, you mentioned at the beginning that you did some siding and such and windows, but have you ever purchased a door and you haven't? No. So that was a new experience, which of course we can correlate to the brides and grooms that are coming in.
Right.
In this particular case, you were looking for some expertise and some guidance.
There you go.
And that's
especially with the first person that we met with. I mean, your expectation right away is, oh, I'm going to learn from this person so that I know from the next person. As an example, one of the things we told him was, just because I heard it on TV, I want triple pane windows.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I learned later there's no difference between triple pane windows and double pane windows. At least from what from the other two people that we talked to, they said there's no, and they actually did these thing with the light and they shine it through glass and the heat and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So anyway, go ahead.
And that's an interesting. We can talk about double and triple pane windows because they're not meant for your part of the world. They were designed for science.
Yeah, probably not.
That's a big story. So it was your first experience, and you were looking for some guidance. Now, in this particular case, if he would have come in and said, "Here's 3 options," would you, as the consumer, have felt better when he's saying, here I understand what you're looking for, and for efficiency, here's the best, good, better, best? Is that the kind of things you were looking for?
Right. Yeah, and just for somebody, it's exactly. I mean, here, okay. So I understand you want security, you want energy efficient, and you want it so it's no maintenance at all. He never asked us about budget or anything like that. But the point is, he could have still said, here are 3 options. You know, if you have extra money you want to spend, here's your number 1 option that will take care of all of that. It's going to last forever. If you're a little limited on budget, here's option number 2. It's going to last 25 years, but it's still a great product. You know, are you planning on being in the house 25 years? And then there's option 3, which that stuff is probably going to have to be replaced again in 5 or 6 years, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, it would have been nice even to get that much.
Sure.
Of an example of what this would cost us.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to our second contestant.
Okay. So our second contestant was a very well-known company nationally. I think I asked you, and you said that you knew him in your part of the country. Guy came out. He was carrying like these huge, what DJs would call gig bags. So he gets to the door of our house. He's got these huge bags. I don't know how he carries these things. They're huge. So he walks in, and again, very, very nice, very professional, wearing this shirt with the logo. Very offered to take his shoes off when he came into the house. I said, no, you don't have to do that. And actually didn't even park on our driveway. He parked out, almost a half a block away, and he's carrying these bags. And I go, why don't you? I stepped out on the front patio, and I go, why don't you go ahead and pull down here in our driveway rather than having to lug all that stuff. So he came in, and we went through pretty much the same process in the beginning of saying, here's what we want. These are the 3 things that are most important to us. And he heard every word we said. And he started with, okay, pretty much like we just talked about. Here are some options. Here's what a front door might look like, and here are the different types of front door that you might consider. This one's going to be far better for you as far as energy efficient. This one's going to, you're never going to have to worry about painting it or maintaining it or doing anything with it. Not only that, we're going to come in, we're going to redo the door jamb, and you know what? We have finishers that come into your home, and they actually stain all this stuff. I didn't even tell him anything about that. I had just said, I don't want to have to deal with it. He goes, yeah, we got this guy. He comes in, and after we're done, he's going to stain the inside of your windows where we put up bare wood, and same thing with the door jamb. We're going to take care of all that for you. You won't even, it all. He goes, now, the only thing is, it may be bare for a day or so, because after we get it installed, then he's going to have to come out. He can't do anything until our work is done. It's like, okay. He flipped my wife out because one of the things that we talked about, right now our back door leads out to our patio. It's an open and close type door where you open it to the inside and close it. And one of the things we hate about that back door is that it has a sliding screen. I don't know how many times I've replaced that stupid screen because the wheels wear out on it. And so we had talked about, okay, so instead of putting a screen back up there, sliding screen, why don't we do like a screen door or do like a storm door?
Sure.
Wasn't really something I wanted to do, but it was like, man, I'm just tired of dealing with the screen. So he starts talking to us about, here's an idea. On the back of your house, instead of doing that pull-in nut door, he goes, here's this really cool sliding door internal. He goes, now I understand your concerns about the outside sliding door, but here's the track that this thing is going to sit on. And here's how this thing, and then he showed us the wheels and how it moves. And it was all like, well, I don't know what I was so worried about. Heck yeah, let's go back to, I love the idea of the sliding door in the house. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being like one big patio door, we'll have 2 big pieces of glass and then a door in the center that slides off to the side so it'll open. Then you have the screen door that opens. He had samples here. Okay. So on that sliding door, he showed my wife. He goes, we have this pin that we put in at the bottom of the sliding door so that if you want to only open it a little bit, you can, and then you can punch down on this pin with your toe, and it will hold the door in place. And then when you get ready to close it, you can just pop it and it comes up. The point is nobody can get in that
security
door.
Yes.
Yeah, if it's open a little bit. And which my wife was just like, oh, you mean because she can remember the days when you used to have to take a broomstick and put it in the,
jam it in there.
door. Yeah. Because the locks were so bad. So, I mean, I don't know that she heard anything else he talked about beyond that point. I honestly don't. I mean, all she could think about was that pin. So, anyway, like I said, he's the guy that first one with the, here, try this. Here's the heat lamp, and here's the glass, and feel and do this and do that. And so at the end of our conversation, again, I mean, I felt really good. I mean, this guy's going, he said, can I call you in a week? And I said, I told the guy, first off, he asked, how long is it going to be before you make a decision? And I said, well, we have one more person to meet with. I don't know exactly how long, but we want to get this done. So we're not going to be sitting on it too long. And he goes, well, can I call you in a week? And I said, I don't understand the purpose of the question, because you've already conveyed your value. And if I really think I want to hire you, I guarantee you're going to be the first one I call.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know why you have to call me to reintroduce yourself, because I said, as far as I'm concerned, you have truly conveyed the value of the product you have to sell. I believe in your warranties and your guarantees and all that. I don't think you're going to have a problem with me. So, be honest with you, I'd prefer you not. So
let's not talk about
how that ended. Okay.
Let's not talk about the value.
Okay.
That part of it. Let's save that to the very end.
Okay.
So that was number two.
Number two.
And now, just to recap a little bit, you felt that he was very knowledgeable.
Oh God, yeah, he was here for like 2.5 hours,
and very helpful in understanding what you were looking for and giving you suggestions that would fit what you guys were looking for. And you felt completely confident that he and his team, his business, could accomplish what you needed to have done.
Right. And he had photos of everything. I mean, we had some fun with him, because he had like, here's a photo of the door. Well, it was an inside shot, and outside the door was like a deck, and then just beyond that was a beach. And I go, so does the deck and the beach come with the door? I mean, it was, this guy had a great sense of humor. He didn't talk to us. We had the whole evening was just a conversation about doors and windows, which I never thought I'd ever be interested in a conversation about doors and windows. There were times when like I said, with that sliding back door, he was happy to give us this. I think he even said something to the effect of, I understand you would like to do that, but here, have you considered this option?
Sure.
I have no problem with that. But I think way too many times in sales, it's really easy. Just you worry so much, kind of like with that first sales rep that we have. You worry so much about, are they going to think badly of me because I'm offering a suggestion that, I'm paying you for your expertise. And if you can't demonstrate your expertise now, how can I depend on it when I really need it down the road?
Yes.
So.
Okay, so let's jump to the third.
Number three. Third and final. Young lady. I know she hadn't been out of college very long, but she was very, very nice. She, again, came in. We had a great conversation, very professional. The difference, though, between her presentation and all the others, and this will be shorter in describing it, is that she came in with the gig bags, just like the second guy. But the difference was that the quality just wasn't the same. I mean, again, it's a reputable company, but when you look at her product, it just didn't measure up. I mean, in appearance and stuff. And part of it could have been, it looked like in a way that instead of bringing us brand new samples, instead of okay, so like the second guy, it's pretty apparent that they had invested in the product, that they manufacture all their own stuff. So it was pretty evident that they had really invested in the sample bags that they sent out, because this stuff never been used. It was great. The third young lady, this third sales rep, though, almost everything in the bag was used. It was like they had transformed everything into a sample. So not only did the quality not measure up, but just, especially if it's white product, you don't want to look at white product that's got kind of a brown tinge to it because it's been dirty or gotten sun stained or whatever the case may be. There was a couple things I did not really like about this particular sales presentation. I mean, again, I want to emphasize all three of these very nice people. This particular sales rep had just started not long before she came to the house, and she was very open about that. But one of the things she did, and this is the way she was trained, was she started talking badly about her competition, which I was like, really, this is what you want to be doing? Is that, well, their guarantee doesn't do this and that and the other, and their look at their pricing, and she had price sheets too that she was showing us from these other people and from the other companies, and it was this kind of a weird thing of why if you can demonstrate your value, why do you need to do that? And second, you don't want to call, I would never call anybody out by name, but I would have had no problem if she had said, it just verbally said, some companies will provide you with this kind of a warranty, but
Mm-hmm.
really it means this. We do this. And that's the difference between us, rather than actually trying to call out different companies by name and showing me pieces of paper with the company's names on it. It's like, I just thought that was really kind of a trashy thing to do.
Yeah.
So at the end of our conversation with her, she said, so she asked me so she fills out a price sheet. Yeah, this was my favorite. She fills out a price sheet, and after she fills it out, she writes next to all 4 items, or I guess 2, 4, 6 items, all the windows and the doors. She writes 25% discount if you order today. And I looked at that and I went, here's the deal. I'm going to take a chance that 25% discount's still going to be there a week from today. She goes, you are? And I go, yeah, because if I call you a week from today wanting to book you and hire you, and you tell me then that I can't have the 25%, I'm probably going to go back and talk to somebody else again, because it's not the way we do business. So she goes, well, the reason I'm doing that is because I just hate losing business to, and I had told her the 2 other companies we met with, I just hate losing business to XYZ company and ABC company, which I thought that was really weird too. So there was this moment, kind of a lag. She picks up her phone and she makes a call. And I said, I mean, we're still in a meeting, so I have a perfect right to ask. I go, so who are you calling?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, I have to call my boss and tell him that I did not close you. And as I know the phone is ringing, I said, so let me ask you, if this is going to turn into one of those deals where you talk to him for a few moments and then he asks you to hand me the phone. I won't use the exact words that I said then, but I said, it's not going to make me very happy. All of a sudden that call went into voicemail. And I said, that's just, why do you do that? Well, that's what we're supposed to do when, a customer doesn't, So again, it was, when you're going to make a decision. And I said, well, you're the last person we're meeting with. It's not going to take us very long. May I call you in a week? Which I still don't get that question. I mean, if you convey your service or you convey your value, why would you want to do that? So let's talk about that one, and then I want to go back to the second one for a minute.
Sure.
I forgot something I wanted to share with you. So go ahead. Did you have questions on that one?
So in this particular case, you had someone who had a blatant inferior product, but did her, as far as her sales and her knowledge and such, I mean, where would you rate her?
Oh, she knew her stuff. She knew her stuff. And there's no doubt about it, but it just, her product was just not the same as what we had already seen. It was like, this is totally inferior to what we've already put our hands on.
Mm-hmm.
It was, there was no comparison. I mean, I could tell right away. Plus, well, and the other problem that we had an issue with her is that a lot of stuff didn't match. Colors, she couldn't get colors to match at all. Hardly, well, I should say hardly at all. There was a real problem with that. And also the, especially on the inside of a door, the inside of a door is going to be a wood grain. And because of the material that it's made out of, and we learned this from the second guy we met with, is that here, this is what real wood grain looks like. Here's what a lot of companies will try to sell you, and it's just awful. And that's the type of stuff that she was showing us was like it was it in my opinion it was B class type appearance. I mean, I don't know, the material may have been fine, but it just didn't look
Yep.
real. It would have looked it, it would have looked like something that was manufactured for, I don't know. I don't want to I'm afraid to say anything. I don't want to insult anybody, but it just wasn't it wasn't up to par. So we'll leave it there.
So she was knowledgeable, but the product was inferior. Pricing wise, how did you feel her pricing was, or did that?
Well, her pricing was cheaper. I mean, she was about $2,000 or $3,000, or maybe even $4,000 cheaper than the second guy. I probably could have pushed. She offered me a 25% discount if I ordered today. I wonder if I could have pushed that.
I bet you could.
Well, could I get a 35%? Hey, you're already offering me 25%. Why not give me 35%? I don't understand. Here's what I don't get, John, and I know, just chatting about this. I don't understand anybody that offers you a price and immediately offers you a discount.
And that'll take us back to our number 2.
Yeah, because the thing is that if that's the actual value of what it is you're selling, why are you trying to fool the people into believing it's something different?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. I guess, I'm not a sales expert by any stretch of the imagination. I wish I were, but I mean, I've been around sales long enough now, especially in our industry, to know how it works. But I can't imagine. If anything, I would say to a customer, here's our price. It's only good for 10 days, and then it's going to go up. I mean, I would work the opposite psychology. Rather than saying, here's your discount, if you order today, I would say, here's your price. But just keep in mind, in about 10 days, it'll probably go up.
Sure.
You don't have to say how much or anything, but hey, it's probably going to go up. But I don't understand the whole philosophy of saying, here's how much something cost, and then turning around and saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to discount it for you. Because first off, that devalues your product, in my opinion.
Very quickly.
It just immediately cheapens you. It takes you down. I mean, because at some point, what's to keep me, if you let me get away with that as a customer, what's to keep me from later down the road coming back to you and wanting even more discount at some point? Yeah. So anyway, I just, like I said, I don't understand the philosophy behind that. So if somebody can explain it to me, go ahead, send it to me at ron@discjockeynews.com, and I'll share that with my readers.
So let's continue now. So just to recap, we have our first young man didn't know what he was doing, didn't really get numbers properly. Right. It was a mess.
Second, and on top of that, even if he'd given us a price, I can guarantee it would have changed 6 times before we actually got the job started. So.
Not the greatest.
I mean, it's just, and again, I don't blame the kid. I blame whoever trained him. I mean, because they just had no clue. So.
And then our second was a more experienced salesperson, answered the questions, higher priced than number 3. Now,
I want to touch on one thing that the second guy did that I left out, and I think this is important. Is that one of the things he offered? He also offered a discount, not in the 25% off today kind of thing, but he told me that if I would share with him all the marketing materials that I got and price sheets I got from everybody at the company, that he would give me $1,500 discount for that information. Which I told him that I thought that was a cheap shot. I said, look, I don't, what goes through the minds of people that are, just be honest here. Look, if I'm going to buy from you, then I trust you and I like you. And at that point, you can say, is there any chance you might want to share that? You don't have to give me a discount. Just ask me for the information. I probably would have gladly have shared it with the guy. But that to me is another one of those things where you go, why? What's the purpose behind that? I've never even thought about doing something like that. Can you imagine as a DJ? If you'll share with me all the price sheets from all the other companies you've done business with, I'll give you a $200 discount.
See,
that'll motivate people to book you.
And that's the interesting, because before that discount, were you ready to sign the contract?
Well, I wasn't ready to sign a contract with anybody at that point because we still had one more person to meet with, and I was sticking to my guns. I mean, in a way, I'd already made up my mind that who I was going to go with, but I still had the third person to deal with, which I just gave a spoiler right there. Yeah, I mean, we just, I mean, rather than beating around the bush, yeah, we finally decided to go with the second guy. Again, we're paying more for the product, but I still think the product is going to last a whole lot longer. I trust. Here's the cool thing: is after we booked this guy, he came. He sent out a guy just a couple days after we had contracted, and they did another thorough measurement. I mean, just everything just got measured. We went through all. It was like a second check system to everything the sales rep had done with us.
Sure.
Making sure that the colors were exact, making sure that the measurements were exact, making sure that this was done, this was done, this one. I mean, and actually, when he got done, the second guy, I actually had to go through a checklist with him and check off on everything that we had talked about to make sure that this had all been done. And then within days of that, we got a call scheduling to have the service done. We actually asked not to have it done until after the holidays, just because of the holidays. So we already have a date on the book for the middle of January to get this work done. But this guy, one of the things that was pretty cool is I called him one afternoon and said, "Look, we made our decision. We'd like to go with you." And he immediately made arrangements to come by the house that night so he could get the paperwork taken care of, which I'm sure it's kind of a sales thing where you don't want to take a chance of somebody changing their mind, I guess. So he comes, and again, always very nice. And at some point during the conversation, he had to call his office to tell them, because everything had happened so fast. And I understood what he was doing. It had something to do with he needed to make sure that the meeting he was having with us was put on his corporate calendar. And maybe get some kind of commission just for the meeting or whatever. So he had to call in to make sure. So he was talking to the lady on the phone, and at some point during this conversation, I heard him say, "Oh, and you can remove the quarantine from the Ruth bid." And so when he got off the phone, I go, "So what do you mean by quarantine?" He goes, "Because when you told me you didn't want me to call you, I put a quarantine on your bid so nobody would call you. It was red flagged all over the place. Nobody could call you and follow up at all." Two of the companies, the last two companies we met with, also both called for surveys on the meetings with us, which I found that was interesting as well. Did they show up on time? Did they come prepared with samples? Did they answer all your questions? That kind of stuff. So I found that interesting too, that just to have a survey call for the sales consult, which I think is important. It probably helps them along the way.
I would think so, yeah. If they're not getting that feedback especially if they don't get the sale. Right. Well, why? What happened that didn't go right?
Right. And I feel sorry for the young lady that was here, because I hope her boss doesn't give her too much grief about not. Again, I think it comes down to training. Different companies operate in different ways. I'm of the belief that the experience of, like it is with the second guy and even the third guy, the experience of the sales consult should be something that is a conversation. Who is it that says, John, that people don't like to don't want to be sold? They want to buy.
Does Ziegler talk about that?
I can't remember the exact quote.
Yeah.
But however the quote goes is that, yeah, I want the enjoyment of buying from you. I don't want to be sold.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I don't know that any of them actually did that. Tried to sell us other than maybe through the discounts. But I enjoyed the conversation, and through the conversation, you're able to learn a lot more about the individual. Who are you going to trust in this conversation? And as I said, doors and windows are very expensive, just like weddings are very expensive. Who are you going to trust when they open a microphone, not to embarrass you, not to cost them money. Um, you know, I think that's part of I think it's really easy to go out and say, here's all the stuff that I have, and here's how much it costs. You want to book, and if not, can I call you in a week?
Yeah.
Um, I think that line should be removed from the sales vernacular. If you convey your value, and if people genuinely like you, there's no reason to call them in a
Yeah.
week. And to be honest, I have never done that, ever, ever, ever. Have I lost sales because of it? I I don't know how you measure that,
Yeah.
but I typically will say that's on me. If they don't call me back on their own, then I didn't convey my value well enough or something. So because chances are after a week I'm going to call you back and somebody's going to say, well, we found some. Here's the problem of calling somebody back in a week, because now you've lost negotiating power. Hi, I thought I'd follow up with you. Yeah, but you know what? We talked to someone else, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like $200 cheaper than you are. Would you be willing to match their price?
Well, let's see.
So
I just showed I'm desperate for the business because I called you back, and now I have.
yeah, yeah. So you lose, in my opinion, you lose all negotiating
You're,
power. Now, if they call you on their own and say, we talked to someone else, and would you be? It's much easier to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I feel that my fee is fair,
yeah.
and that's where I'm going to stay with it.
Okay, well, we've got a couple of drawings we need to do. First off, all of you who are in the chat room, I need you guys to go and post something in there so we can see who's all with us in the YouTube chat room. If you're watching,
can I call you in a week?
yes, post. I'm going to get the link actually, and I'm going to put this over in the Facebook. So anyone who's in Facebook and watching, the link, I just put it in the comment section there. You can pop over to the YouTube, and then you'll need to comment. Can I call you in a week? And we're going to randomly draw a number and count back and do that. So that'll happen in just a minute. But what we're going to be giving away for the chat room is your choice of either the DJNTV white. Where's it? There we go. I got to get in the frame. The hat with a white or the black. You can choose whichever hat. These are the adjustable size, so I'll need to know if you need a medium large or an extra large, extra large. But they're a flexible, adjustable. There's a name for it. I don't know what the name is, but in the chat room, you guys are going to get the hat, and then the person who we draw, which I just did the drawing here while Ron was chatting, and they're going to get the shirt and the full DJNTV pack of gear that we'll send out. And we're going to announce that person first, and this is actually somebody we know. Michael Durham is our.
Michael Durham's on
He's
listening
not on,
right now.
No, Michael's not. I don't think Michael's on tonight with us. But Michael registered out at discjockeynews.com/holidays, and now is our winner. So that congratulations, Michael, out of Knoxville, Tennessee. You're going to get a Disc Jockey News TV pack of gear with the hat and the shirt and such. So that'll get you going there. And let's see. Let's go back up here and give them just a second here to get a few more in there. Ron, before we wrap things up here in just a couple of minutes, people would like to get in touch with you, ask questions, share ideas, and check out your different content and things that you have available. What's the best way to do that?
Easy. Ron at ronruth.com, RUTH. So Ron at ronruth.com. Or if you don't have a piece of paper and a pencil to write that down, you can contact me at ron at discjockeynews.com. Either way. And right now, as most people know, I'm really big into delivering extraordinary helping companies design extraordinary customer experiences. And on my website, ronruth.com, we have a special going on for consultations where you can save 30% from now until a little bit before Christmas.
Okay, we've got a lot of people. Now what we're going to do, Ron, is just give me a number between 1 and 20, and I'm going to count up, and we're going to pick that person's going to be our winner.
12.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so I would just the chat. The thing was just to get you guys to post. By the way, Paul Reedy is showing up as the 12th person on the chat. So Paul, what I'll need you to do is to go and message me on Facebook. Go out to facebook.com/JohnYoungMN and private message me. I'll need your address and do you want the medium large or the large extra large hat? And then if you want white on black or if you want the black and black, the MJ version with the black on black.
God, so many choices.
I know. Well, Paul, you're going to be the winner of, I got to get your name on here.
Congratulations, Paul.
So, yeah, thank you for being with us. Thank you all for being with us tonight. I got to get this all written down. So I have it and such. And all of the hats and things are going to be, I'm going to be shipping these every week because I've got a bunch that have to go out this week for DJNTV Insiders. We've got hats and things. Now that everything is in, yay! So it's going to be shipping stuff going out this week. So
I can't wait to get my leather jacket.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait till you get those leather jackets ordered.
Embroidered leather jacket.
Embroidered, yeah, just so you look like, you're one of the cool
part
kids.
of the Disc Jockey News gang.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. Well, Ron, thank you very much for sharing some of your experiences and some of the lessons that we can all learn from your different 3 different household sales.
Pleasure.
And I'm actually now, I want to see what they look like when they're done.
Oh, well, after the middle of January, I'll make sure you get pictures.
We'll have to check those out. So
yeah.
We'll be back in about 10 minutes tonight. Mitch Taylor is our second show tonight. You can find those links. You can go back out to my Facebook page. I've got the 3 links there. Otherwise, go to the youtube.com/discjockeynews and the link will pop up in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And just hang on, Ron. It's going to clear. Hang on. This is when the software is on.